Well, I'm going to help you today by giving you some really practical strategies for giving your child that encouragement they need without saying, good job, good job, good job, good job, so much that it becomes absolutely meaningless to your child. If using strategies besides good job to praise and encourage our children will help them in their overall development. So you clicked on this video because you've gotten into the habit of saying good job to your child, maybe a little too much, and you've read the research or you've heard from other sources, or maybe my earlier video on why good job isn't really a good way to give our child praise, to give them encouragement, and to help them be the best, confident, capable person that they can be. And we need more of those people, right? So here's a recap of why good job can be problematic if we rely on it too much. One problem with good job is it's a subjective statement. Your good job, my good job, one parenting partner's good job, another parenting partner's good job, another caretaker's good job, can all vary a lot. And so the child hears that, but it's kind of meaningless because what they do one moment or one day might be told good job, and what they are told by another caretaker and they're not told good job. And because it's subjective like that, it can be very confusing for the child. Another thing, because good job is external and coming from you and is an evaluation, the child becomes dependent on the adult in their life to define for them when they have done a good job. And this really is unnecessary, and we'll talk about that more in just a bit. A third reason is that to compliment or encourage our children, saying good job all the time really limits the vocabulary. So they're just hearing that same phrase all the time, whereas with the other strategies we'll talk about, we're going to be enriching their vocabulary and therefore their cognitive development. And this habit of adults saying good job to children kind of sets children more as others in the group of humans than they already are. And it's, that if they're doing a task that they have done hundreds of times and the adults are saying good job to them, it sets them apart, because adults don't do that to each other, right? When your friend pours himself a cup of coffee, we're not standing there saying good job, right? Because they've been pouring coffee maybe their whole adult life. So it separates the children as if they're humans that need this phrase said at them all the time. They notice, especially older children, even if they can't consciously explain it, they understand that like they're being evaluated constantly with this good job or awesome job or whatever, where the adults don't speak to each other that way. And another problem is if it's really overused, it can, because it's making them dependent on you, make them little praise addicts. I've had, before I worked with toddlers, I saw this very clearly with preschool, where the children would do something and they'd hold up a paper or they'd hold up or point out the blocks that they were building, and they'd say good job, and then I'd say, oh, do you think it's a good job? Turning it back to them. And eventually they developed the ability to decide for themselves when something was a good job. And they weren't, at least in classroom setting, as dependent on the adults, but they can become a little addicted to our praise and start doing things just to please us instead of for their internal motivation. All right, so what strategies can we use to stop saying good job so much if we want to help our child's development and help them develop that internal, intrinsic motivation and not be dependent on us? Well, first of all, we have to think, is encouraging or praising in certain moments even necessary? And how we determine this is by observing the child. So if they're engaging in activity or had an interaction with someone and they just keep going through their little lives, we might not need to say anything to them. But if, they built a tower super high and then, they looked at us for encouragement or validation, then that might be a time when we want to say something. But if not, then the first strategy is not to say anything. Because if they built the tower and they're happy and content and they're beaming and they're not looking to adults for validation, then they just validated themselves. And I still remember, this boy's graduated from high school, that he had worked for 45 minutes, this is a preschooler, building in this very complicated way, and he had arranged it multiple times until he was satisfied, and then he stood up and he looked at it and he walked around and he said, I am good. I am good. He's nodding his head looking at it, and he didn't look to any of his friends or to any of the adults to ask, am I good? Did I do okay? He knew, and he didn't need validation. And I just hope today, wherever he is in college or working, that he still has that within himself, that, you know, if he does a really good, solid work day, he's not going to need his boss to good job him, right? And that's what I want for your children or the children in your care. Sometimes they are looking for us, like, what do you think of what I did? And they want some kind of validation or some encouragement to keep going and pushing themselves further. So in that case, the second strategy would be just to share your admiration for their accomplishment. So admiration can look like, wow, you really worked on that for a long time, or wow, you built that really high. And so it shows your admiration for their work, regardless of, you know, what exactly the product is, whether it's good in our eyes or not, just to show that you admire what they have accomplished, that they put the effort into it. Another strategy is just to be thankful. So if you ask a child, oh, could you put this in the laundry basket for me? Or, oh, could you help your sister put her shoes on? Rather than saying, good job when they do it, just thanking them is enough. And it's more natural, right? Like if we do something kind for someone else as adults, we generally don't say good job, you know. And so just expressing gratitude that they were willing to do that effort for you or for someone else will make them feel appreciated, and we don't need to evaluate them with a good job. Another strategy, if they're looking for validation again, is just to celebrate with them. And that can be really simple. We just say, you know, congratulations, you know, a sincere congratulations, you know, to show that we recognize that they worked hard on that task, you know, whether it's something like, you know, using the toilet and they're really proud that they made it to the toilet, or something like they were able to push that little chopper through the cucumber for the first time, and they've, you know, been trying for a couple months, and they finally figured out the angle and the pressure, and they were able to do it, and just saying, congratulations, yeah, you did that. But we can also congratulate them and by saying that word congratulations, or by saying, wow, that was hard and you did it. You did it, you know, very popular in Montessori classrooms. And then they start saying, I did it. And sometimes they'll start, you know, saying I did it, and they don't look around to us, you know, to validate that. They just say, I did it. And that's just really cool when that happens. And then it is important to let them know we're proud of them too. So another strategy is just to let them know, yeah, I'm proud of you. So whether it's because, you know, they match the animal figures to the animal cards, and they run over to you and say, you know, I did it, I did it. And you can just say, oh, I'm so proud of you. You must be proud of yourself too. We're the adults that they love and hopefully respect. And it is meaningful when the people you love and respect are proud of you. So letting them know you're proud of them and saying you must be proud of yourself. Because sometimes people aren't going to be around watching, right? And we're still going to need to get our work done. We're still going to have to make that extra effort to make our dreams come true, even if people aren't there physically with us, cheering us on. Encourage your children without saying good job, without making them become dependent on you for subjective praise. Let us know in the comments what strategies you use to build those cognitive skills and to build that confidence and belief in oneself. All right, see you in the comments. Thanks and take care.